What if the scale says you're doing great, but your body is quietly losing the one thing you really wanted to keep? That's what happens to a lot of people when they try to lose fat. They start with one goal: make the number on the scale go down. And at first, it feels amazing. Your shirt fits better. Your face looks a little slimmer. Your waist feels smaller. You step on the scale and think, okay, this is working. But then a few weeks go by, and something feels off. Your muscles don't look as full. Your workouts feel harder. The weights you used to lift feel heavier. Your arms look smaller. Your shoulders don't have the same shape. And somehow, even after all that dieting, your stomach still doesn't look tight or athletic. That's the part most people don't talk about. Losing weight is not the same as improving your body. You can lose weight and still look soft. You can lose weight and feel weaker. You can lose weight and become a smaller version of yourself, not a better one. And honestly, that is frustrating, because most people are not just trying to be lighter. They want to look leaner. They want to feel stronger. They want their body to look firm, healthy, and athletic. So the real goal is not just fat loss. The real goal is losing fat while holding on to the muscle that gives your body shape. That muscle is what makes your arms look defined. It gives your shoulders width. It keeps your body looking strong instead of flat. In this video from Hidden Health Science, we're going to talk about 9 simple rules that can help you lose stubborn fat without throwing away the muscle you worked so hard to build. Because the goal is not to just weigh less. The goal is to look better, feel stronger, and keep the body you earned. The biggest mistake people make is thinking every pound lost is a win. I get why. When the scale drops, it feels like proof. It feels like your diet is working. But the scale does not tell the whole story. Your body is not just fat. It also holds water. It stores glycogen. It has muscle tissue. It has fluids shifting all the time. So, when you cut calories too hard, the number may drop fast. But that does not always mean you are losing only fat. Some of that weight can come from water. Some can come from stored carbs. And if you are not careful, some can come from muscle. That is why 2 people can lose the same amount of weight and look completely different. One person looks leaner, tighter, and stronger. The other person just looks smaller, flatter, and tired. Same weight loss, different result. And the difference is not always willpower. A lot of times, it is the plan. If your calorie deficit is too extreme, your body starts to feel stressed. If your workouts get too easy, your muscles stop getting a strong signal to stay. If your protein is too low, your body does not have enough material to repair and protect muscle. If your sleep and recovery are poor, everything gets harder. And if your routine changes every day, your body never gets into a rhythm. That is when your body may start treating muscle like something it can afford to lose. And that is the last thing you want during a fat loss phase. Because muscle matters. Muscle helps your body look firm. It helps your metabolism. It protects your strength. It gives shape to the fat you are trying to uncover. So before you chase faster weight loss, stop and ask a better question. Am I losing mostly fat? Or am I just sacrificing muscle so I can see a smaller number on the scale? Because those are 2 very different things. And once you understand that, fat loss becomes a lot smarter. Rule number 1 is simple. Your calorie deficit should match where your body is right now. And this is where a lot of people mess up. They see someone online eating 1,800 calories a day, so they copy it. But they never stop and ask, does that person have my body, my weight, my training level, my body fat, my goal? Most of the time, the answer is no. A person carrying more body fat usually has more stored energy to pull from. So when they eat fewer calories, the body can use more of that stored fat for fuel. That does not mean the diet is easy, but the body has more backup energy available. Now compare that to someone who is already fairly lean. They do not have as much body fat left to use. So, when calories drop too low, the body becomes more protective. It starts holding on tighter. Energy drops. Workouts feel harder. Recovery slows down. And if the deficit is too aggressive, muscle becomes more at risk. A simple way to think about it is this. Body fat is like a savings account. If the account is full, your body can withdraw energy more easily. But as that account gets smaller, your body gets careful. It does not want to spend too much, too fast. That is why leaner people usually need slower, smaller deficits. But here is the problem. Most people do the opposite. They lose some fat, then progress slows. The scale stops moving as fast. End quote. End quote. End quote. So they panic and cut calories even harder. And yes, the scale might move again. But that does not always mean it is good progress. You may also lose strength. You may feel flat. Your workouts may get worse. You may recover slower. And you may start losing the muscle you were trying to keep. That is not smart fat loss. That is just forcing the scale down. The better goal is not to lose weight as fast as possible. The better goal is to lose the most fat while losing the least muscle. That is the difference. If you have more body fat to lose, you may be able to use a bigger calorie deficit for a while. But if you are already pretty lean, a moderate deficit is usually the smarter move. It may feel slower, but slower is not always worse. Sometimes slower means you keep your strength, you keep your shape, you keep your muscle, and you actually look better when the fat comes off. So, do not just ask, how little can I eat? Ask, can my body recover from this? Because fat loss is not just about eating less. It is about eating less in a way your body can handle. Rule number 2 is this. Keep giving your muscles a reason to stay. This is where a lot of people mess up during fat loss. Once the diet starts getting hard, their workouts change right away. The weights feel heavier, energy is lower, recovery takes longer. The gym does not feel as fun anymore, so they think, maybe I should just go lighter for a while. And I get it. It feels like the smart thing to do. You are eating less. You are more tired. So using lighter weights seems reasonable. But here is the problem. Your muscles do not know you are dieting because you want to look better. They only understand demand. If you keep lifting challenging weights, your body gets a clear message. These muscles are still needed. But if you suddenly make every workout easy, your body may get a different message. It may start thinking, maybe we do not need to keep all this muscle. And that is the last thing you want when you are trying to get lean. Now, this does not mean you need to hit personal records while cutting. That is not realistic. When your body weight drops and calories are lower, you may lose a little strength. That is normal. The goal is not to become your strongest ever during a fat loss phase. The goal is to hold on to as much strength as you can. So do not rush to lower the weight. If you used to bench a certain weight, try to keep that weight for as long as possible. Maybe you get fewer reps. That is okay. Maybe you need more rest between sets. That is okay too. But do not take away the heavy signal too fast. If recovery gets harder, reduce the amount of work first. Do fewer sets. Cut back a little on volume. Give yourself more rest. Manage fatigue better. But keep the muscles working hard enough to know they still matter. That heavy training signal is powerful. It tells your body, do not get rid of this muscle. We still use it. And during fat loss, that matters more than most people realize. Because your workouts are not just there to burn calories. That is a big mistake. Your workouts are there to protect the body you are trying to reveal. The fat loss comes from the diet. The shape comes from the muscle. So, if you want to look leaner, stronger, and more athletic, do not abandon heavy training just because the diet gets uncomfortable. Train smart. Recover better. But keep showing your body that your muscle is still worth keeping. Rule number 3 is this. Stop trying to make every day look exactly the same. A lot of people diet like robots. Same calories on Monday, same calories on Tuesday, same calories on leg day, same calories on a day when they barely move. But your body does not work the same every day. A hard workout day is different from a rest day. A heavy leg day is not the same as sitting at your desk, answering emails, and barely getting any steps in. So why would your food need to look exactly the same? This is where calorie cycling can help. The idea is pretty simple. You eat a little more on training days. You eat a little less on rest days. But by the end of the week, your average calories still stay where they need to be for fat loss. You are not cheating. You are not ruining the diet. You are just putting more food where your body can actually use it. And honestly, this makes sense. After a hard workout, most people are hungrier. Your muscles also need nutrients to recover. That is when your body can use more fuel for repair, performance, and keeping muscle. So instead of dragging yourself through your hardest workouts with low energy, you give your body a little more support on those days. Then on rest days, when you do not need as much fuel, you bring calories down a bit. This helps keep the weekly deficit in place, and it can make the whole diet feel less miserable. That matters more than people think, because the best diet is not the one that looks perfect on paper. It is the one you can actually follow when life gets busy, work gets stressful, and hunger starts talking. Calorie cycling gives you a little more flexibility. It can help with hunger. It can help with training. It can help with recovery. And it may help you hold on to more muscle while the fat comes off. So do not think every day has to be identical. Your body has harder days and easier days. Your nutrition can match that. Rule number 4 is simple. Do not be afraid of dietary fat. For a long time, people were told that fat was the enemy. So when they start a diet, they cut out everything with fat in it. No egg yolks, no salmon, no nuts, only low-fat yogurt, low-fat milk, low-fat everything. And on the surface, it sounds right. You want to lose body fat, so you stop eating fat. But the body does not work that way. Dietary fat is not just extra calories. Your body uses fat for important things. It supports hormones. It helps with brain function. It plays a role in recovery. It helps your body feel and perform better. And when fat intake gets too low for too long, you can feel it. Your energy drops. Your mood gets worse. Your workouts feel flat. Recovery slows down. And keeping muscle during a calorie deficit becomes harder. Now, this does not mean you should eat unlimited fat. That is not the point. Fat has a lot of calories, so if you overdo it, fat loss will slow down. But cutting fat too low can cause its own problems. The goal is balance. For many people, getting around 20 to 35% of daily calories from fat is a reasonable range. And the type of fat matters too. Foods like salmon, sardines, mackerel, walnuts, flax seeds, chia seeds, olive oil, and whole eggs can fit well in a smart fat loss plan. You do not need to fear these foods. You just need to control portions. That is the real issue. Fat is not the villain. Poor calorie control is the problem. If you remove too much fat, your diet may look strict, but your body may not feel good on it. You may lose energy. You may train worse. You may recover slower. And eventually, the plan becomes harder to stick to. A smart fat loss diet does not eliminate fat. It uses enough fat to support your body while still keeping calories under control. That is how you lose fat without feeling completely drained. Rule number 5 is this. More cardio is not always better. Cardio can help. There is no doubt about that. It burns calories. It supports your heart. It can help you stay in a calorie deficit. But a lot of people take it too far. They start using cardio like punishment. A little fat loss slows down, so they add more running, then more cycling, then more high-intensity workouts, then more treadmill sessions. And before long, they are doing so much cardio that their body cannot recover. This becomes a problem when you are also lifting weights and eating fewer calories. Because during fat loss, one of your biggest goals is to keep your strength. And strength needs recovery. If you are already eating less, your body has fewer resources to work with. Then, if you pile on a lot of hard cardio, your body has even less energy left to repair muscle and perform well in the gym. That is when your workouts start to suffer. The weights feel heavier. Your legs feel dead. Your strength drops. You feel tired all the time. And instead of looking leaner and stronger, you just feel worn out. Your body may also start getting mixed signals. Heavy lifting tells your body, keep this muscle. We still need it. But too much endurance training tells your body, get better at going longer and using less energy. Those are not always the same goal. That does not mean cardio is bad. It just means you need the right type and the right amount. For many people, brisk walking is one of the best choices during a fat loss phase. It burns calories. It is easy to recover from. It helps with digestion. It can lower stress. And it does not beat up your joints the way too much intense cardio can. Walking may not sound exciting, but it works. And sometimes the boring thing is the thing you can actually keep doing. So before you add another hour of hard cardio, ask yourself something simple. Would I be better off walking more, tightening my diet a little, and protecting my strength training? Because if your cardio is making you weaker, exhausted, and less consistent, it is not helping anymore. It is getting in the way. Rule number 6 is about alcohol. And this one can be uncomfortable because a lot of people do not want to hear it. One drink does not ruin your body. That is not the point. But if your goal is to lose fat and keep muscle, alcohol has a cost. When you drink, your body treats alcohol like a priority. It wants to process it and get it out of your system. So while that is happening, fat burning gets pushed down the list. That can slow progress for a while. But honestly, that is not even the biggest issue for most people. The bigger problem is what usually happens after drinking. Your self-control drops. Your hunger feels louder. Foods you would normally avoid suddenly look amazing. Pizza, fries, burgers, late-night takeout, sweet drinks, big portions. And just like that, the calorie deficit you protected all week can disappear in one night. You may have been disciplined from Monday to Friday. Then, Saturday night wipes it out. That is frustrating, but it happens all the time. Alcohol can also hurt recovery. After you lift weights, your body needs to repair muscle. That repair process is a big part of how you keep muscle while dieting. Heavy drinking can interfere with that. So now you are eating fewer calories, trying to train hard, trying to recover, and then alcohol makes the job harder. Again, this is not about judging anyone. It is not about saying you can never have a drink again. It is about being honest with yourself. If your progress is stuck, if your workouts feel flat, if your hunger is out of control, if you keep doing well all week and then losing control on weekends, alcohol may be one of the first things to look at. You do not always need a brand new diet. Sometimes you just need to stop letting one habit erase 5 good days. Cutting back on alcohol can make fat loss much easier, not because it is magic, but because it helps you stay consistent, recover better, and actually keep the progress you worked for. Rule number 7 is simple. Protein protects your muscle. Fiber helps you stay consistent. And honestly, if you only remember 2 nutrition rules from this whole video, remember those 2. Let's start with protein. When you are losing fat, your body is not just burning energy from one place. It is constantly deciding what to keep and what to let go of. You want it to let go of fat. You do not want it to break down the muscle you worked hard to build. That is where protein matters. Protein gives your body the material it needs to repair and maintain muscle. If you are lifting weights and eating fewer calories, protein becomes even more important. Without enough of it, muscle loss becomes much more likely. A simple target many people use during fat loss is about 0.8 grams of protein per pound of body weight. So if someone weighs 180 pounds, that is around 144 grams of protein a day. It does not have to be perfect down to the gram, but it does need to be close enough to support your body. Now, protein helps with muscle, but fiber helps with hunger. And hunger is where a lot of diets fall apart. Most people do not quit because they do not know what to do. They quit because they are tired, hungry, stressed, and tired of fighting cravings all day. Fiber helps slow digestion. It keeps you full longer. It makes meals feel bigger and more satisfying. And it can help you naturally eat fewer calories without feeling like you are white-knuckling the whole day. Good fiber sources are simple. Vegetables, berries, beans, oats, lentils, chia seeds, whole food carbs, nothing fancy, just real food that keeps you full. That is why protein and fiber work so well together. Protein helps protect the shape of your body. Fiber helps you stay on the plan long enough to actually see that shape. A meal with lean protein and fiber-rich food will usually keep you fuller than a low-protein, low-fiber meal with the same calories. And that is the whole point. Smart fat loss is not just about eating less. It is about choosing foods that make eating less feel possible, because willpower runs out. but a meal that keeps you full? That makes the whole process much easier. Rule number 8 is this: make your first meal high in protein. And eggs are one of the easiest examples. They are simple, they are affordable, they are easy to make, and they give you high-quality protein. Eggs contain all 9 essential amino acids, which means they give your body the building blocks it needs to repair and maintain muscle. One of those amino acids is called leucine. You do not need to memorize that word. Just think of it like a signal. When your body gets enough high-quality protein, it gets a stronger message to keep repairing and protecting muscle. And during fat loss, that message matters, because your body is eating fewer calories, so you want every meal to work harder for you. A protein-rich first meal can also help with hunger later in the day. This is something a lot of people notice from real life. If you start the day with mostly sugar or refined carbs, you may feel hungry again pretty fast. Maybe you grab a muffin, cereal, toast, or a sweet coffee drink. It tastes good for a moment, but an hour or two later, you are hungry again. Now compare that to a meal with eggs, Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, lean meat, or a protein shake. You usually feel steadier, less snacky, less desperate for something sweet. That does not mean everyone has to eat breakfast at 7 inches the morning. If you do intermittent fasting, that is fine. Your first meal may be at noon. The rule still applies. When you start eating for the day, make protein the priority. Eggs are not magic. No food is magic. But they are practical. And practical matters. Because the goal is not to chase some perfect superfood. The goal is to build meals you can repeat. Meals that help you stay full. Meals that help you keep muscle. Meals that make fat loss feel less like punishment. That is how you get leaner without feeling like you are fighting your body all day. Rule number 9 is simple. Consistency beats chaos. A lot of people only think about what they eat. But when you eat, and how consistent your meals are, can make a big difference too. Here is what usually happens. One day, someone eats 6 small meals. The next day, they skip breakfast. Then the next day, they barely eat all day and have one huge meal at night. Then the weekend comes, and they snack all day without really thinking about it. That kind of pattern makes everything harder. Your hunger is all over the place. Your energy is up and down. Your protein is hard to manage, and your body never really knows what to expect. Now, you do not need to eat every 2 hours. That is not the point. You also do not need some perfect meal schedule. But having a steady routine can make fat loss much easier. Maybe you eat 2 meals a day, maybe 3, maybe 4. That part matters less than whether you can repeat it, because your body usually does better with a rhythm, and your muscles do better when protein is spread out better. Think about 2 people. Both eat 150 grams of protein in a day. One person spreads it out across 3 meals, maybe 50 grams, 50 grams, and 50 grams. The other person barely eats protein all day, then tries to get almost all of it at dinner. Same total protein, but it does not feel the same for your body. When you spread protein across the day, you give your body more chances to repair and protect muscle. That matters when you are dieting. Because your body is already working with fewer calories, you want each meal to help you. A simple way to think about it is watering a plant. If you give it steady water at the right times, it does better. But if you ignore it all day and then dump a bucket on it at night, that is not the same thing. Your body is similar. It does not need perfection. It needs a pattern it can work with. So try to make your meals predictable, not boring, not strict. Just predictable enough that your hunger, protein, workouts, and recovery are easier to manage. Because fat loss is not won by one perfect day. It is won by normal days repeated again and again. That is where real progress comes from. Not chaos, not extremes, just a routine you can actually live with. Here is the truth a lot of people do not want to hear. Even if you do everything right, you may still lose a little muscle during a serious fat loss phase, especially if you are already lean. Or if you have been training for a long time. That is just real life. Social media makes cutting look way too easy. People say things like, Lose fat and build muscle at the same time. Stay strong the whole way. Get shredded in 30 days. Keep all your size while the fat melts off. It sounds great, but the body does not always work like that. 2.1. The leaner you get, the harder your body pushes back. Hunger gets stronger. Recovery gets slower. Weights feel heavier. Sleep matters more. Your energy may drop. Your mood may change. And some days, training just feels harder than it should. That does not mean you are doing something wrong. It means your body is trying to protect itself. This is why cutting is not about being perfect. It is about reducing the damage. You may not be able to prevent every bit of muscle loss, but you can make a huge difference by doing the basics well. Keep your calorie deficit under control. Keep lifting heavy. Eat enough protein. Do not cut fat too low. Limit alcohol. Use cardio wisely. Eat enough fiber. Put more calories around training when needed. Keep your meals consistent. None of these things are magic by themselves, but together, they help create the right environment. An environment where your body is more likely to burn fat while holding on to muscle. And that is the real goal. Not just becoming lighter, not just watching the scale drop, but actually looking better when the fat comes off. Because there is a big difference between losing weight and improving your body. One makes you smaller. The other makes you leaner, stronger, and more athletic. That is the difference you want. So let's bring everything together. These are the 9 rules. First, match your calorie deficit to your body fat level. If you have more fat to lose, you may be able to diet a little more aggressively. But if you are already lean, you need to be more careful. Second, keep lifting heavy enough to remind your body that your muscle still matters. Do not make every workout easy just because the diet gets hard. Third, use calorie cycling. Eat a little more on training days. Eat a little less on rest days. But keep your weekly calories under control. Fourth, do not cut dietary fat too low. Your body needs fat for hormones, recovery, energy, and overall health. Fifth, be smart with cardio. Cardio can help, but too much hard cardio can hurt your recovery and weaken your strength training. Sixth, watch your alcohol. It can slow fat loss, increase cravings, hurt recovery, and wipe out a whole week of good choices. Seventh, focus on protein and fiber. Protein helps protect muscle. Fiber helps control hunger and keeps you consistent. Eighth, make your first meal high in protein. It can help with hunger, cravings, and muscle support throughout the day. Ninth, build a meal routine you can actually repeat. You do not need perfection, you need consistency. And that is the real point. These rules are not flashy. They do not sound like some secret fitness hack, but that is why they work. The best fat loss plan is not the most extreme plan. It is the one that helps you lose fat, protect muscle, recover well, and keep going long enough to see real results. If you made it this far, just remember this. The goal is not to get lighter at any cost. That is where a lot of people go wrong. The real goal is to get leaner, stronger, and healthier while keeping the muscle you worked hard to build. Because losing weight is easy to chase. But losing fat the right way takes patience. You do not need to fix everything overnight. Do not try to master all 9 rules at once. That usually just makes people overwhelmed. Start with 1. Maybe you focus on eating more protein. Maybe you cut back on alcohol. Maybe you stop dropping your calories too low. Maybe you keep lifting heavy instead of making every workout easier. Pick one thing and get better at it. Then add the next one. Small changes, repeated long enough, will beat a perfect plan you can only follow for 2 weeks. That is how real progress happens. Not from panic, not from extremes, not from trying to suffer your way to a better body. If this video helped you understand fat loss in a clearer way, subscribe to Hidden Health Science for more simple, science-backed health and fitness lessons. And leave a comment below. Tell us which rule you need to focus on first. Because sometimes, one honest change is enough to get your body moving in the right direction again. And remember this, the mirror does not reward the fastest weight loss. It rewards the smartest fat loss. And that is the kind that actually changes how you look, how you feel, and how strong you become.